Time now for sports news on the news at 10 with Ayotunde Balogun.
Many thanks, Gimba. We're starting off with football. Super Eagles duo William Troost Ekong and Junior Ajayi have been listed in this year's Confederation of Africa Football CAF Team of the Year. Troost Ekong got 71% of the votes to beat Ivorian defender Eric Bailly, who got 29% of the votes. Ajayi got 64% of the votes cast for the offensive midfield position to see off competition from Algerian striker Yassine Brahimi. Morocco's Karim El Amadi and Ugandan Dennis Onyago are the other players listed in the first 11. Ryan Fraser scored twice to end Sam Allardyce's unbeaten start as Everton manager and moved Bournemouth out of the Premier League's bottom three. Champions Chelsea cruised to a 5-0 victory against Stoke City in the game that was over as a contest within 23 minutes. Egyptian striker Mohamed Salah's double helped Liverpool extend their unbeaten run to 15 games in all competitions with a 2-1 win against Leicester at Anfield. Swansea City staged a remarkable late fight back to beat Watford 2-1 and give Carlos Carvajal victory in his first game in charge of the side. Manchester United could only manage a 0-0 draw with Southampton at Old Trafford. Serena Williams has returned to the court for her first competitive match in almost a year, with an exhibition loss to Jelena Ostapenko at the Mubadala World Tennis Championship in Abu Dhabi. Serena quickly dropped the first set 6-2 against Ostapenko, the French Open champion. She then rebounded to win the second set 6-3, but quickly fell behind 5-love while losing the match tiebreaker 10-5.
But as the match moved on, I was less afraid. You know, I was like, I'm not going to fall over and break. I am going to be okay. And the more I played, the more confident I felt. And the more I was able to actually go for shots that I was afraid to go for in the first set. So I think that was really good, and I feel like this was a wonderful opportunity for me to kind of test to see where I am, not only physically, but mentally. It's like mentally, like you have to get over that hump of like, go for the shot, you're going to be okay, you know, because it's a lot that goes on through a female's body after you have a baby. So I think it was perfect.
All three wins in their Hopman Cup tie against Japan and Perth, Australia. World number 2 Roger Federer began the winning ways for the Swiss team by dispatching Japan's Yuichi Sugita 6-4, 6-3 in just over an hour. His compatriot Belinda Bencic then beat Naomi Osaka 7-5, 6-3 in the women's contest to clinch Switzerland's victory in the round-robin stage of the mixed team event. And from a world number 1, Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from next week's Qatar Open, casting doubt on his participation at the Australian Open later in January. Qatar is the second tournament Djokovic has pulled out in as many days, owing to a niggling elbow injury. The 12-time Grand Slam champion was top seed in Doha, but he wouldn't be able to defend the title he won last year. His withdrawal comes just 24 hours after the injury forced him to drop out of an exhibition tournament in Abu Dhabi. And that's sports news. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Gimba will be back with the rest of the news at 10.
A court in Cairo has sentenced former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi to 19 others to 3 years in prison, extending his 20-year sentence. Mr. Morsi was fined 2 million Egyptian pounds, that's about $112,700, on charges of insulting the judiciary. Among the 19 others tried along with him are leading Egyptian activist Alaa Abdel Fattah, lawmaker and television presenter Tawfiq Okasha. They were given fines ranging from 30,000 to 1 million Egyptian pounds. Morsi, democratically elected after Egypt's 2011 revolution, was overthrown in mid-2013 by then-General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, now president. He was arrested following mass protests against his rule, tried and convicted of inciting the killing of protesters during demonstrations in 2012. In the meantime, thousands of pro-government demonstrators are attending rallies in Iran after 2 days of anti-government protests erupted in the country. Dozens of people have been arrested during days of protest over corruption and living standards, which the vice president suggested were being organized by political opponents. The U.S. administration has warned Iran that the world is watching in response. Today's official rallies were organized in advance of the anti-government protests to mark the 8th anniversary of the suppression of major street protests. And the main news again, more petrol stations and dealers were today hit by the hammer of the Department of Petroleum Resources as the government agency continues to clamp down on fuel hoarders and cheats. Also today, residents of a neighborhood in Kaduna State were thrown into mourning as a man allegedly hung himself. And former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi today got additional 3-year jail term alongside 19 others for insulting the judiciary. And that's all been on the news at 10 tonight. I want to thank you so much indeed for being a part of it. I am Gimba Omar. Have a splendid night rest. Good night.